That is the close of our formal presentation. Ashutosh, Ramsey, Cleon, Brittany, do you all have anything to add before we open it up and give the opportunity for our students, our prospective students to ask questions?
Well, thank you, Anna, for that great presentation. This is Ashutosh, and welcome everybody who have been watching today. I guess, I just wanted to say you have a great place here, great faculty, lots of good opportunity if you want to pursue your graduate studies at Johns Hopkins ECE, part of engineering professionals degree. Cleon, Ramsey.
Yeah, I'd just like to welcome everybody over here, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, great. I don't see any questions in the Q&A right now. Just be sure that if you do have questions, I see some coming up in the chat. Please be sure to put them. I'm going to read the chat, but please be sure to put them in the Q&A. It's just easier for us to moderate. And the first question is about a copy of the presentation. So we won't have a copy of this exact presentation, but what we will have up on the website and the YouTube channel in about a couple of weeks will be a actual production. So it will be the same information, just in a cleaner format, but you will also get an email when it's up on the website. So you can look forward to that. The first question, how does the part-time ECE PhD program in Johns Hopkins work? We don't have a part-time PhD. If I was an EP ECE student, can I switch to part-time PhD program?
I'll take that question, and Cleon, Ramsey can answer or add to that. So first of all, obviously, Anna, you're right. ECE EP program we do not have PhD program, right? However, we really encourage the students to actively do thesis, independent study, research. We have provision for that, and that will make you ready if you want to do PhD elsewhere, or within Johns Hopkins, we have Doctor of Engineering program. If you're working, that is the very appropriate. It started about 3 years back. The first batch just graduated. There are folks within Applied Physics Lab. In fact, some of my colleagues, they finished PhD recently. So that is a separate program. We can help on that. Also, ECE, within ECE, we have provision. If you are doing a thesis with any specific advisor, we encourage people to write papers, go to conferences. In some cases, we have budget set aside to help you attend those conferences and submit papers, etc. Right? So this is highly, highly encouraged, and we are beginning to see lots of students either taking thesis option, either 2-semester thesis option or independent study. We are also planning to implement capstone projects. So you have a specific topic you want to research on, we can do that. Cleon or Ramsey, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you've answered it well, Ashutosh.
I agree.
All right, great. Thank you for that. And I did put a link to the DEng program in the chat if you want to get more information about that. The first question in the Q&A is from Mark. How are courses presented to students online, interactive or pre-recorded? So if you all could talk a little bit about the modalities and synchronous versus asynchronous, that would be great.
I could go ahead and address that. That's right. We do have several modalities where we provide the course material to students. We have online, and we have what is known as virtual live, and we have also in person. I'm not going to focus on the in person at this time because due to the pandemic, all of our courses that we offer did switch to online and virtual live. The online courses are pre-recorded lectures that accompany presentation slides. So the presentation slides are made available to the students along with the voiceover, what we call the voice over the presentations. There are additional course materials that are typically provided in the course, such as if there is a textbook or any ebooks. I see that that was the next question that was asked. Not every course has that material. It is to the discretion of the instructor, but yes, these are some of the material that are provided in the course. The other modality is the virtual live. The virtual live is where the instructor is conducting the lectures remotely, but during a specific time and a specific day during the week. Students are strongly encouraged to attend, but depending on the instructor, they may not be required to attend. Virtual live courses are recorded and they are made available to the students. These are our two main modalities of instruction, and then we do have the third modality depending on the university policies of whether we can go back to in-person instruction. But the in-person instruction is the regular method of instruction that you can imagine, where students are physically present in the classroom attending the lectures.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Ramsey. The next question, does the graduate program accept GI Bill, and is it part of the Yellow Ribbon program like your undergraduate program? Yes, we do accept the GI Bill. I will put a link to admissions and aid information so you can get more information about that specifically. I'm not familiar with the Yellow Ribbon program, but I do know that Hopkins is approved by the Maryland Higher Education Commission for veterans, and we actually have a person that works in the office of the registrar that is assigned specifically to help with veterans and their benefits. And I'll put that in the chat as well. The next question, I've been accepted in the program for a master's. If I choose to start with a graduate certificate to try it out, do I need to do something specific to change my path?
So I think I'll try and answer that. No, I think so. The same requirements for a graduate certificate are the same ones for the standard master's. So once you're in the program, if you decide to stay for a full degree, I think you just need to declare that you're planning to stay. So there's no hard requirement to do anything specific.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Cleon. The next question, can you elaborate on the subject of VLSI and quantum computation in the MS program?
Nancy, you want to take that?
I was just going to mention that we do offer courses in VLSI. Quantum computation, I believe, are courses that would be offered mainly under the computer science program. I would recommend reviewing the list of courses that are offered in both the ECE as well as the computer science program. These two programs tend to be closely related with some of their courses, in order to see what courses interests you in the computer science program related to quantum computation. I don't know if a question has been asked or if it'll come up, but on the topic of technical electives, the program, the ECE program, does allow a maximum of 3 technical electives. These are courses that you can take from other programs that count towards your master's degree in ECE. So that would be an option of taking courses in quantum computation.
Great, thank you for that. The next question is from an international student in Iraq who was told that the WES evaluation must be submitted while applying and you can't apply without it. And so when I was referencing in the chat, I'm sorry, in the actual presentation about submitting unofficial transcripts, that does not apply to the international credential evaluation. It's a separate process. And so I will forward you a link to that information. Everything is laid out there for you. And then if you have additional questions about the international credential evaluation, WES and ICAP and all those things, all of that information is there. I do not know, I know that it takes 7 minutes for them to process and match things up. I don't know what the timeline is, and I'm looking on the website right now, it's not provided there. So if you do need to get clarification about that, I will again I'll put my email address in the chat and you can email me directly, or does anyone on the panel know? Okay, so yes, I will put my email address in the chat, and then you can follow up with me if the link that I give you does not answer your question. The next question from Brian: I hold a BS in applied physics, not an ABET accredited degree. If I were to graduate from your program, does that satisfy the accreditation program to sit the FE and or PE exams in the future?
I don't know the exact answer to this. This is probably a question that I would have to go back and look at. I don't know if Ashutosh or Cleon may have an answer to that.
Yes, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that either. I do know that we go through an accreditation process, but I do not know the answer to that question.
Yeah, we can answer that later on, maybe after confirming with our EP program.
Okay, we will do that. I'll put the general email address in the chat for any follow-up questions. The next question is, can this program be completed in 1 year?
So let me answer that a little bit. So first of all, if you're working full time, I wouldn't recommend even try that unless you take a leave of absence. I have seen few students, at least, we have advisor for, we have about 10 advisors, and each student, when they get admitted, they have an advisor assigned, right? So we encourage the students to really communicate with the advisors and get the guidance, so that we want to make, when you get in, to be successful, right? So technically it is possible, but that means you have to take almost 5 courses, right? It's almost like a full-time course. But if you are working, we don't recommend taking that many courses because there is a strict grade requirement that you have to fulfill. But I have seen, at least in two of my advisees, because the place they work, they give them some kind of a leave of absence so that they want them to complete within a year. Ramsey and Cleon, you have any suggestions on that?
Yes, I echo the same thing that you just said, Ashutosh. It's imperative to be able to balance between school and in some cases family, and if you are working, it is not recommended to take a heavy load during a semester. We do draw the distinction between a 600 level course versus a 700 level course. 700 level courses, which in the ECE program, you're required to take at least 4 of the 700 level courses. The 700 level courses tend to be include more rigor, generally more rigor than the 600 level courses. So if you start taking more of these types of courses, it becomes even more challenging to be able to balance through the different things that you might be juggling with. So that's I typically recommend students not to take more than 2 courses. In some cases, I just tell them to take 1 course if they are working full-time and they have other commitments.
All right, great. Thank you for that. The next question: if one has a GPA of 2.9, can one still be granted admission on basis of scientific coursework like SCI publications?
So if you do not meet the GPA requirements, your application can be forwarded to a committee to review sort of your coursework. And also, we also take a look at kind of your workload and maybe also request that you provide letters of recommendation. So you can be accepted with a conditional acceptance, where you may be required to make at least 2 Bs in your first 2 courses. So yes, you can be accepted with a 2.9, but it will be a conditional acceptance potentially.
All right, great. The next question: my letter of condition states that I must complete the following coursework. Does this mean that I can take any 2 600 level courses listed in the ECE catalog at any of the listed focus areas to qualify for full admission?
So I'll answer that question again. That's exactly what I was talking about with the, if you have below a GPA, you can be accepted, and the letter will state that you will be required to take at least 2 600 level courses and make at least a B in those 2 courses. And yes, you can take any one of the 600 level courses in ECE.
If I may add to what Cleon just mentioned, in terms of taking any of the 2 600 level courses, yes, you can. However, if you do look at our courses, there are several of the 600 level courses that we consider the foundational or the core courses. They tend to be prerequisites for other 600 level and 700 level courses. So from a planning standpoint, you may want to consider taking those 600 level courses that serve as prerequisites for other courses, just to gauge the level of rigor in these courses.
And so I'll add to that too, right? So when you're doing sort of your course planning, you probably want to think about the 700 level courses that you would like to take and see which prerequisites are required for that. And then base your prerequisites off of those 700 level courses that you may want to take. So I agree with what Ramsey said as well.
Yeah, I also like to add one more thing. As I talked previously about consulting an advisor, that's very, very important. In some cases, the prerequisites can be webbed. If the instructor is teaching that course, you have to consult with him or her and demonstrate that you have enough experience or qualification. So in some cases, the prereqs can be webbed, just to let you know that.
All right, thank you all for that. The next question from Norbert: is a concentration automatically added to the degree program after satisfying all courses required for that particular concentration, or students need to talk to the advisor to add the concentration to the program of study?
So I'll take that one as well. So a concentration is typically selected when you apply. So it's not an automatic thing. So you can select a concentration when you first apply. You can talk to your advisor about switching out of the concentration, or if you take all the classes and you want to get the concentration later, you can talk to your advisor about getting put into the concentration track. So I think you can do it sort of any time in the process.
All right, great. Thank you for that. The next question: what is a typical week of study and coursework for a student working full-time, taking 1 or 2 simultaneous courses?
I'll go ahead and attempt to answer that. It's the best answer I could really give is it really depends on the course and the instructor, but generally speaking,
Ramsey, you're a little, I don't, is it
a
me?
student is expected to put anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a week. Okay, can I get an audio check from others? All right, if somebody else wants to answer the question, if I'm breaking up.
I think we're all breaking up.
No,
I
at
can
some
hear
point.
you.
Right?
You're good.
You can hear me? Okay.
hear you.
I'll attempt to answer again. On average, for a 600 level course, you can expect between 12 to 15 hours a week. For a 700 level course, it may be a little bit more, but it really does depend on the instructor and the course. I don't see any problem with reaching out to the instructor before registering for the course and just engaging with them to see the level of commitment needed for that course, especially if you are considering taking more than one course a semester. I do encourage my advisees to do that just to get that data point so that they can make an informed decision.
Great, thank you for that, Ramsey. The next question: what does the admissions committee look for outside of grades when considering which students to accept?
So I'll try to answer that. Maybe Ramsey and Cleon, I can add to that. So first of all, this specific program has been designed to help the professionals, right? That's why we call it engineering for professionals to succeed. Obviously, if you're fresh out of school and trying to join grades are important, but if at some point later in your career you'd like to start your graduate studies, you have accumulated, lots of years of experience, and that point, as Cleon said before, the references, the work you have done, if you have published any papers, those are definitely going to be important in deciding the admission, right? I guess so. We look at all of those. If you do not satisfy the grade requirement. Cleon, Ramsey, anything else you'd like to add?
And in addition to, sometimes we have requested letters of recommendations as well.
All right, thank you for that. Sean's question: if I apply for the online program, can I decide in the future to attend classes in person?
Yes, the short answer is yes, you can.
All right, next.
I guess I would add to that too. So when you apply, you're really not just applying for the online program, you're applying for the EP program, which includes online as well as face-to-face, as well as hybrid. So you're really applying to all three modalities. So you can choose which one at any time.
That's right. And you can always, if you're remote, you are doing online, maybe you move to Maryland, live close to the campus, you can always, and if it is offer on site, you can come and attend.
Great, thank you for that. The next question from Parth: does one get any merit for past publications and industrial experience in the selection process?
I think I kind of answered that partially. Obviously, the past publication industry experience matters. And on top of that, the reference letters from your supervisors or bosses, wherever you work, that definitely helps in deciding the admission.
All right, great. Next question: can you all just discuss a little bit or give more information about the 2-semester independent research study? And if you have any examples, provide those as well.
Sure, I could go ahead and field that question. The independent study courses, which are the 801 and 802 courses, these are independent study courses where a student can work with an instructor to select a research topic that interests both the student and the instructor. The idea is that the instructor is supporting the student's idea and having technical discussions with them as they walk through taking these courses. These courses are typically driven by the student, so the student would typically define the project and then work out a plan along with the instructor of how they want to accomplish the technical tasks in that particular project that they're working on. And it can span over 2 semesters. The interactions with the instructor can be in different methods. I believe I saw a question that asks, how does the student interact with the instructor? It can be in different methods. It can be through email. It can be through virtual meetings, either Zoom or WebEx. It can be phone calls. And if the student is in close proximity to where the instructor is, or to where to where the labs are, they can also do that in person as well. The requirements are set and agreed upon between the student and the instructor. We don't have a requirement for any kind of publication, but we do try and encourage students to publish their work in a conference. And I will also add that the program does provide some support, financial support to the students in terms of purchasing any hardware. If they have any electrical hardware that they would like to purchase, the program can support that up to a certain limit. So this is for the independent program, which is the 801 and the 802. This is different than the master's thesis courses, which is the 803, 804. So I'll stop at that before I get into the master's thesis option.
Great, thank you for that, Ramsey. The next question.
So, sorry, I'd like to add a little bit, Anna, there. So we are encouraging the students, highly encouraging the students to really have either independent study or thesis option. If you are considering to do PhD after this, or even trying to get into research and development type work, this is highly encouraged. Our faculty, they are very experienced, and we serve as thesis advisor, right? So you will get all the help you need. There will be committee members, periodic progress. So if you're thinking about getting into research area, this you should strongly consider this. Yeah.
And I guess I'll add to that as well. We also provide funds for conferences. So Ramsey mentioned that we encourage publications. So we also support people going to conferences, you know, if you get your paper published.
And this is a little bit side to that. If you're thinking about thesis and independent study and research, our faculty are very much involved in many of the professional societies like IEEE, ACM, and we have seminars given by many of the world experts. You get a chance to participate in those. So we collaborate with Johns Hopkins Homewood campus. Any of the seminars those are offered there also are open to EP students. So you get a chance to interact and participate in these seminars as well.
Great, thank you all for that. The next question is Master of Science degree. Is it offered 100% online? Does it require a master's thesis?
So I'll take that question. It can be completed 100% online. There are enough courses to complete the degree online, 100%. It does not require a master's thesis. And so, like we were saying before, you know, we're promoting research, independent study, and or the master's thesis, but those are not required.
Next question. If I've taken courses at another university, can we talk about transfer credits? I think that's what someone else asked that earlier.
I could go ahead and field that question. The ECE EP program does accept transfer courses, a maximum of 2. All transfer courses count as 600 level technical electives. The process is outlined online, but it typically requests students to provide a syllabus of that course, and in order to see what the closely equivalent course would be from the EP ECE program. I will add that in terms, when considering transferring courses, the 5-year time limit to get a master's degree begins from the date that the course, the transferred course, the course that you transferred into your degree. So this is just for awareness. Again, the 5-year limit begins from the date of your transferred course. That's if you do choose to transfer a course into the program. I don't know if Ashutosh, Cleon, if you have anything else to add for transfer courses.
That is true. I mean, the transfer of courses, obviously, you need to apply, and I think there is a fee associated with that. And usually that also gets reviewed by the committee. And the 5-year requirement, that is a requirement in some cases. If the students have to go through some, special circumstances or family problems, we do consider giving some extension as well, right? And that's case by case basis. I mean, things like COVID, for example, some students that had family affected and could not take any courses they plan to take, and that situations we do consider and be flexible.
Great, thank you both for that. The next question. Does the master's route affect admission into the PhD programs versus, so I think the question is, if they do the master's thesis versus the special project, how will that affect admissions if you decide to get a PhD in the future?
I think that, oh, go ahead, Ramsey.
I was just going to say, I think the question might be asking courses only master's where you don't take independent study or thesis versus a master's where you take independent study or thesis. So Cleon, if you want to go ahead.
No, I was going to say the same thing. I think they're talking about courses only versus research.
So I'll attempt to answer that. I would say it depends on the institute where you plan to get a PhD. We can speak for the doctorate of engineering. It does not necessarily affect the path or the decision for doctorate of engineering, as Dr. Ashutosh mentioned earlier, that a PhD or considering a doctorate of engineering to take independent studies or a thesis option.
Yeah, so I guess Ramsey, what Ramsey said is absolutely right. So it depends on which institution you're applying. In some cases, if you know you want to do research in a specific area, let's say cognitive science or AI, right? Or 5G, let's say. So you can, this is like almost like a stepping stone, right? This is where you get a chance to do some thesis, and that will definitely increase your chances of getting admitted to PhD program with full scholarship, if you're applying for full time. A doctor of engineering, it helps, but your experience is more important there. But I would really encourage, if you're thinking about PhD, at least do an independent study, right? So that helps you to set you on right track, almost like a step 0, right? Before you get into your PhD. And that helps you to do literature survey and pick the right topic. Then once you get into PhD program, you can do rapid progress, right?
I would say in addition to that, right, for all programs you're going to apply for, you're going to need letters of recommendation. So it's helpful to get to know the instructor or professor, to work with them, and then they can write a very strong letter of recommendation for you as well when you start to apply.
All right, thank you all for that. The next question from John: are there computer spec requirements that we need to meet in order to complete the coursework or computer recommendations?
I'll try and field that question. The short answer is no. However, there are some courses, especially the courses that involve any kind of software tools that you need to install. That includes also the courses that have online labs or remote labs associated with them. They may have requirements for their computers. It would be good to check with the instructors if you are considering that course. But for the most part, we don't have specs on computers. The faster the better is usually works in your favor. I don't know if Ashutosh, Cleon want to add
No,
to this?
I will add too that I mean, if you type in JHU computer requirements, they'll come up with a list of requirements for a computer. So I think everybody that's sort of going to JHU, there's sort of a standard minimum set of computer requirements that they recommend. And so if you have those should be fine for the EP program as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to add one more thing. While we also give a lot of emphasis on hands-on experience, right? I know, Ramsey, you may want to talk about that, the lab kits, but on the other hand, we are in the process of building our virtual lab. So if you're taking a course, let's say on 5G, you want to make sure how 5G works. You have the ability to set up like whole 5G network in a cloud environment. So we have certain labs already there. We're trying to augment that facility. At the same time, we also try to take advantage of some of the existing labs built by NSF, for example, National Science Foundation. And we have some kind of a consortium membership where you are allowed to log into their systems and do some remote computation, for example, or experiment. So we are increasingly getting into a situation where the students not only just get to know the theory at the same time they get hands-on experience as well. I don't know, Ramsey, at this time you want to talk about the home lab kits or those the lab kits that we send out?
Sure, it was mentioned in the introductory presentation, but we do have several courses, half a dozen courses, where we provide what we call the lab in a kit to the students. These are commercial development kits. The EP program provides each of the students that are registered in that course with that kit, so that all the students have the same kit and they have it at the start of the semester. These kits allow the students to conduct their lab experiments, to complete their assignments. On those kits, they get the hands-on experience. In some cases, and we are expanding on those courses, where in addition to these commercial kits, there are components that are also provided to the students so that they can start building, or that they can build their own custom electronics. Some of those kits also include USB-based test equipment, such as oscilloscopes, function generators, even low voltage power supplies, all provided from the USB of your computer. There are limitations to what those USB devices can provide, but we find them that they are useful in delivering the main concepts in that course. The other type of labs are the remote labs, where, again, in the presentation, students are able to access elaborate test equipment that are connected to a fairly complex circuit, allowing students to also get that virtual hands-on experience in analyzing those circuits.
So I also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge Brittany Quinn, who's been here. She's our educational administrative specialist, and she works very closely with Cleon, Ramsey, and myself. She joined recently. But Brittany, if you want to answer any question, please feel free to jump in, okay? You've been helping us quite a lot. Thank you. Yeah.
That's good. Thanks, Ashutosh.
Back to you, Anna, sorry.
I will add real quick, since I mentioned about the lab kits, and since I just saw a question about that, the short answer is yes, the lab kits do need to be returned at the end of the course. We request students to return them, and we're very pleased with the turnout for the lab kits at the end of the semesters. Pretty much all the students do return the lab kits.
All right, great. Thank you for that. The next question, how much is being done with AI in your program?
So I'll attempt to answer that question. We have several classes that utilize AI. One is coming along in the fall, reinforcement deep learning course. We have a computer vision course, deep computer vision course that uses AI. That's just a few of them. In addition, we have computing resources, the Maryland Advanced Research Computing Center, that people can get an account on to use their computing facilities. In addition, our program has courses that have AI, but there's a whole separate program that's a AI program that just started like a year ago as well. And so, you can also check that out also.
So I think just like to add, Cleon, the electives, right? They can take courses from AI as part of electives, right?
Yes, that's yeah, up to 3 electives from AI could be taken.
And the other thing, some of these courses, Cleon just mentioned, reinforcement learning. These are Homewood campus courses which are being converted to EP. So you get similar type of kind of education and training. It would have been a full-time student at the Homewood campus, for example. And sometimes they're also being taught by the same faculty. So that's another advantage.
Yeah, but there are other courses that are EP sort of grown. The deep learning for computer vision 525.733, which is a deep learning AI course, that was developed. And then there's an intelligent algorithms course. So there are several courses that are AI related.
All right, thank you both for that. The next question from Alberto. For the master's program, what courses are available if someone is interested in the fabrication of semiconductors and all your classes are online?
I'll go ahead and answer that because I am working with a couple of instructors that do teach RF and microwave courses where part of their course asks the students to design an RF board. These designs are then sent out to one of our local fabrication companies in Maryland. The boards are fabricated and are returned to the instructor. So this is all online. The students are online. They design it remotely and send their designs to the instructors, who then provide it to this company that fabricates the boards. The fabricated boards are returned to the instructor, and based on the student's direction, he or she would then direct the instructor or the lab assistants how to assemble these boards that have been fabricated. The lab assistants are then work one-on-one with each student to test their boards to make sure if it meets the design specifications. This is still in its experimental phase. We have offered 2 semesters where we have tried this out. So far, it has been successful, and the students have been able to gauge with the instructors and the lab assistants to be able to learn the course material through that method.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think it was mentioned during the presentation, there are like 7 different focus areas. One of them is electronics and the solid state. So if you're interested in taking courses in those focus area, you may feel free to choose those.
Great, thank you both for that. The next question, and these will be our last 2 for the session this evening. Do any of the electives deal with neuromorphic computing?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, we need to see, we got 20 programs, right? We need to see which, is there any specific program offers courses in those areas? I mean, we always get new courses being designed, the new instructors that come up with new proposals. I don't know offhand, right, how any of those courses being offered in other programs. That's something maybe to follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, biomedical engineering may have some courses along that line.
All right, the next question from Sean. Are we allowed to take more than 10 classes before graduating?
It comes to auditing, right? If they can audit courses.
No, I think he's just saying they want to just take class. So yeah, I guess the answer is yes, right? In order to graduate, you have to apply for graduation. So if you go over the 10 and you take 11, I don't think anybody, so the answer is yes.
Right. I think what I was trying to say is you can, but depends if you want to get a grade or audit, right? That's your option. But you have to minimum 10 courses.
And the other thing is you run the risk of the classes that are 5 years old sort of becoming stale and not counting towards your degree as well.
And the last question, what is your recommendation for someone who has to complete the program in 1 year?
You should convince your employer to give 1 year leave and just get it done with. I know there is one student who is doing that right now. And he's in fact, I know in the old days, like Bell Labs, Bellcore, they used to give those options. They used to give them 80-90% of the salary and then say, go and finish the course or finish your master's degree. And they used to do that. I had colleagues at Bellcore who did that. I don't know, Cleon, Ramsey, you want to add anything to that?
I just want to add that not every course is offered every semester. So I think also careful planning would need to be considered in putting together a plan of study to be able to meet all the course requirements in 1 year. This assumes that
Ramsey, we are dropping.
Courses are going to
You're
be
buffering.
taken in the fall, in the spring, and the summer. I was just saying that careful planning needs to be taken in order to see which courses are offered in the semesters in the fall, spring, and the summer, because not every course is offered every semester.
All right, and that was our last question. The questions were great this evening. Do any of our panelists have anything to close out with before we sign off tonight?
No, I think I'm just hoping many of you or all of you would be joining us soon and have a successful study here and enhance your career in the process. Have a great experience. And if your colleagues, other friends who missed the session today, I think the recording would be available, Anna, right?
Yes, we will. We will put a production up on the website and the YouTube page by the end of the middle of next month.
Absolutely, and I encourage you folks to share that with your colleagues or friends. And we are international. Anybody from any part of the world can join the program. We're trying to emphasize that. So, thank you for joining.